Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Poncho's Paint Booth, where, well, it's my hobby channel. I do models, I paint them up. You get the idea, especially if you've already seen. Which, by the way, if you end up liking this video, or you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe here to my YouTube channel, Multi-Murdy Media. You'll get this stream, you'll get the Gutsy Ass Gamer, that's my video game stream, and you'll get the Jankety Ass Podcast, which is my podcast, which is available here in video, or if you just want to listen on audio, you can get it pretty much it's on every major podcast platform now. So, back to this. What we are doing today is we're dipping back into the Slaanesh demon range of 40k, and we're working on the Masque of Slaanesh special character. So let's go ahead and zoom on down to our workspace. Now, I think the first thing you'll notice is that the skin layer on this model is already finished. And that is because I originally got this model long before there was a pandemic and long before I had a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything like that. So I had started working on it a little bit. But the good news is that does save us a little bit of time, since I don't have to worry about the skin. I can move on to the claws and stuff. So, just like we did for the fiends, which you can kind of see at the bottom of the screen here, for the claws and toes and all that fun stuff, we are going to use our dark sea gray. There we go. It's kind of our middle to light gray. And then top that off, we'll hit it with a bit of Nuln Oil to give us some more contrast. So let's go ahead and make sure my paint isn't all screwed up. Awesome. Let's get started. Alright, that is all of the claws and, well, I would say carapace done, but this guy, or this guy girl, doesn't have a carapace, just claws. So, those are done, and as always, we're going to go ahead and let the wash dry, and we will come back. Alrighty, so the claws on this guy girl are all dried out and ready to go, which means that we're ready to continue. So, since this is just a one singular small model, I'm going to go ahead and actually knock out a few things. For one, let's see, well, first of all, I'm going to go back into I'm going to drop all my stuff all over the place. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back in and dry brush the claws and the toes there with ash gray to, bring out the details and stuff, or bring out the highlights, really. Then we're going to go in on this big cloak that she's wearing, she's, and that is going to be done with a base of our heavy violet. That's the darker purple. And then you'll notice that there's these two other I don't know what they're called, other pieces of fabric. There's one right here in the front, and then one kind of coming around the back. That's going to be done with a base of Crimson Soar, which is more of a reddish purple. And then lastly, we will go in with our dragon white. Just basically, it's white. And what that's going to be is that's going to form the base for the hair. This frilly neck thing that she's wearing. And her masks that she's got on the staff here in the front. It's a little harder to see right now, but you'll see it better once I get into it, of course. So, starting with the gray. Let me get my dry brush palette ready. And actually find my dry brush. I didn't lose it, did I? Oh, here we go. Got a little lost there. All right. So let's go ahead and get started on all of this. Alright, so that is all of those colors down. So now what we're going to do is so all these parts are kind of in different locations on the body, or at least all these colors. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and start applying the washes and stuff. Or the shades, I should say. So for the this big ass cape and half dress, I guess, and then of course like the stockings and the other fabrics, is going to be covered with Druchii Violet, just like we did with the Fiends a while back. And then for her collar, the collar and these masks, we are going to add something. Here we go. The Apothecary White contrast. Again, this one it leaves the highlights white while adding in a like a light gray for the shading. And then finally on the hair, I'm gonna do something a little different. Gonna use our Night Haunt Gloom. It's very similar actually to the Apothecary White, but it's more of a light blue tint. This was originally put out with their with Games Workshop's Night Haunter line, which is all ghosts and stuff. So this is kind of meant to mimic that sort of, and I think it would be good effect on her hair here. So let's go ahead and start with the Apothecary White, and we'll see what this looks like. Alright, so we added some more detail to all of our work that we did just now. Give you a bit of a closer view. So the hair is pretty blue. I'm definitely going to be going back into it with something probably white just to kind of lighten it up again. And of course the cloaks have a wash detail, which, being that it's already a darker color, it doesn't pick up as much, but you can kind of notice the contrast more once I go back in and dry brush everything. And then of course the same for your leggings and gloves, I guess. And of course the masks and the frill have a slight contrast to them. Now these masks I'm eventually going to add a gloss finish so that they look kind of like more of a porcelain sort of thing. But that's going to be coming later. For now, we're going to let these dry, or all this stuff dry, and go from there. Alright, so we got a lot of the major stuff done with this gal. And so now there's a few more elements that I want to get into. You'll see that I also added some skulls on the base. I'll deal with that later. For now, what I'm going to do is going to go back in with our dragon white and dry brush over the hair. Make it stand out more, a little bit brighter, so it's not just blue. Then go in with the blue violet, which is our light purple, and that is going to be used to dry brush over this big cape and these other things coming off, and the leggings and stockings and stuff. And then last but not least, I'm going to go in with a leather brown, and you'll see all across the chest. Can't really see it that well, but there's going to be, well, there's a bunch of straps kind of running across, so those are all going to be done up leather. So starting with the white, let me get my dry brush out. Get this put away here. And let's go ahead and get started. Alright, just a few small details, like I said. Just added some more color into, or, well, not color, took away some more color actually from the hair. Added in the highlights along the cape, so that stands out a little bit more now. And some leather strings along the chest. Now, since I'm short on time, that's just kind of what I cut out with it. So when we come back, I'll get into some more details. Alright, so I haven't actually touched this guy girl in a while, but it's time to continue on with our Masque of Slaanesh. So what we're going to do is a couple things. First of all, We're going to hit the skulls that I've got down here on the base. There's just a couple. That, of course, is going to be done with Drake's Tooth paint. That's our bone color. And then I'm going to start hitting all the jewelry elements all around this model. And that's going to be a combination of two things. For a lot, it's going to be the bright gold. This is our like nice, really bright and shiny gold. And then, of course, shining silver, which is kind of going to be the same deal. I'm not going to bother trying to point out all the different ones because, well, you'll see them as I'm doing them. But, so first off, I want to go ahead and at least get the first layer, or first coat down on these skulls, because this is going to take a couple coats. And, well, honestly, I'm just going to do everything at once. So, let's go ahead and get started. All that I wanted to paint at the moment. Got a bunch of jewelry details picked out. Once it comes into focus, there we go. I know the ring lights will, let me see. Okay, that's probably a little bit better. And the skulls are painted up. So now, what I want to do, turn our light back on. Now what I want to do is these masks that she's got here. Oh, you know what? There's actually a little bit more jewelry in the hair here that I almost missed. But that'll be easy to get. There's just a couple more of these half moon things that she's got in there. Okay, now I got them all. So now what I want to do is I want to make the masks stand out a little bit more. So it's this little wand thing that she's got with the happy and sad faces. So what I'm going to do is apply the hard coat technical paint, and this is going to give them a glossy finish. So it'll kind of look a little more like porcelain. This thing will stay open. Good enough. So what we do is just apply a layer over the white, because I don't really need to worry about the gold so much. I'll do the inside just because, especially on this one down here, it's easier to see. So, fucking Christ. There we go. And so this is just going to help, yeah, like I said, it'll give it a glossy, reflective quality. Can't really see it as well on the camera, but it'll reflect light more than it'll absorb it. So it'll be shiny, especially under the brighter lights, like whenever I'm playing in an event or something like that, or just on display. So now there's one last thing. going to do, and that is to add some more detail to the skulls on the base, and that's done by applying our Agressive shade. And this will give us the more brown and weathered look that'll make the skulls look more like real skulls, as you'll see in a second here. Just apply a nice layer of that, and this will fill in a lot of the crevices and help us pick out the details. You may be able to see on that first skull, yeah, so like all the lines around the jaws and the cheekbones stand out a bit more. And also the same with this crude skull, which there's a lot more details and teeth, and it's got this quills coming out of the back of the skull. Which I'm surprised they actually modeled, because I would have thought it was like hair or something like that, but no matter. And the inside part, that's a little bit of a pain to get to. And there we go. So we're going to go ahead and let this gal dry off for the moment, and we'll come back in a bit. Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today. Alright, so we've made quite a bit of progress with our heraldress here, the mask. So what I'm going to do now is, well, continue progressing, of course. To start off, we'll get a bit of a start on the base, which is basically going to just consist of adding a layer of field gray on top of the base and around the skulls and all that stuff. And then as for the actual model, the only thing we really need to do is the gems and her eyes. So for the eyes, that's just going to be a couple little spots of pure red. You can't even really see it that well from the camera, but it'll show up better once I actually do it. And then for the few gems that are around, and I guess I'll do her earrings too, I'll use the Weight Watcher green color, and that's more of a glaze. It won't be a solid color. It's just kind of gonna play off of whatever's underneath, but yeah, it'll be interesting. So let's go ahead and get on with it. Okay, so we're almost done with our lady here. The actual model itself is complete to the standard that I want. So now all that's left to do is to go ahead and finish up the base. Now, as you remember, I did the same. I'm doing the same motif or theme that I did with the Fiends of Slaanesh, and really what I'm going to do with all my demons. I have more that'll be coming later. And so what we're going to do now is go ahead and apply the rough gray pumice texture paint, or compound I should say. And you've already seen how this works. I'm just kind of dab it around, go for like about a 50% coverage. Anyways, here we go. So that was it. It's pretty quick. So what we're going to do now is, of course, let this dry, as always. And when we come back, I will have gone ahead and added the wash. So we'll just need to do a little bit of dry brushing and then add in some ashes in a moment. Alright, it's time to finish off this lady. So, all that we have left is just to add on the last bits of the base. And what that's going to look like is, first I will dry brush over the dirt with ash gray, as I've been doing. And that'll pick up a bunch of details on the, trying not to sneeze, on the more gravelly parts of the base. And then it's going to be snow time. So first, let's go ahead and get some paint out and get this little task out of the way. Got my dry brush pad all set already, and that's already too much paint, but what do you do? When the bottles get warm, they put more out. They put out more. It's fine. We'll just inadvertently waste some of it. Regardless. Good enough. It's a small base, so you can see that there's not a lot of detail. But we got what we wanted. Or actually, what am I thinking? We're not doing snow. This is... Demons have ashes on their base. Or at least mine do. And now I just gotta remember where they are. Here we go. So ashes. Shit. Oh, they're fine. They're Marines. And spoon. Okay. So glue. Is this one I want? Oh, this is the one I want. I believe. Yes. Actually, I don't even need the spoon for this lady. So base is pretty small, so I've got my glue with brush. Don't want all of that. And I just start layering this stuff on to the areas that don't have any other details, and we just swing it on through. There we go. Got some ashes on our base, and now I'm just going to keep going around and finish the rest of it off. Which is not too much. Just going to get some in here. It's kind of getting all over the place a little bit on me, but that's okay. Alright, this should be the rest of it. sure it gets all over. And that is it. We're done. That is our awesome Masque of Slaanesh. It's all finished. So let me turn the lights off for you there. Yeah, there you go. A little bit easier to see. So, Masque of Slaanesh, aka a Slaanesh herald. All finished. Another character done. So that's been another episode of Poncho's Paint Booth for you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll get another kind of a bit of a view here. Real quick, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, go down to the corner here, like and subscribe to my page, Multi-Murdy Media. You will get this playlist, Poncho's Paint Booth. You'll also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer and the Jankety Ass Podcast in video form. That's my podcast. And of course, we also have a website now. If you go down to the bottom of the show description, or actually it's kind of more midway through, you'll find multimurdymedia.com. Go there, you'll get all the links to, well, back to YouTube, and also to my entire model gallery that I've done for this show and previously. And you will also get links to most of my podcast platforms, or platforms that my podcast is on. We're on all the major ones, from like iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and a bunch of other ones in between. And then last but not least, also go and look up Multi-Murdy Media on Instagram and Facebook. You get all the updates to my shows more or less as they come out within a day or two. And you can also, drop a message or whatever. And if it's cool, I'll put it on the podcast or something like that. But for now, again, thanks for watching. And we got more videos, so, subscribe and stay tuned.